America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends.
What's she bringing to the table? She can get a job. No, they recognize the value and privilege of just having a woman in their lives.
You have to stop idolizing Russian men.
There's a video going viral of Russian men versus American men being asked the 50-50 question, and their response has gotten the entire internet talking. Hey beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here, and welcome to my channel. How you all doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So today's video, yes, we want to talk about the 50-50 conversation again, but this time in a different dynamic. And I need you guys to watch this video to the end, because some of the takes in this video is something else. So there's a viral video that has gone there's a viral video that has gotten a lot of people talking, and this viral video was the question being asked to American men and Russian men about the 50-50 conversation. And you guessed right, you guessed what the answer was. The American men, they were just like 50-50, while the Russian men were like, oh yes, we'll provide for our wife, she's my wife, and all that. And this has struck the conversation of how European men provide for their women and how other culture and countrymen provide for their women, while American men go 50-50. And for me, I have an unpopular opinion that I have about this conversation. Okay, so you need to watch this video to the end. And also some of the take, there's a take of a Russian woman actually speaking up, or a European woman speaking up about the dynamic in Europe where a man is the sole provider of the house. And yeah, I find this conversation very interesting. And I know we have this conversation every AK market day, but I feel like this take around is really different. And yeah, let's get into it.
America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends, you know. Number one, why would I? But what is she doing while I'm working? You know, it's kind of like each relationship now is a 50-50.
То, наверное, да. Вот, потому что все-таки я беру ответственность за человека.
Nah, she has to provide for herself. She's an adult.
Конечно, если жена, это семья, это дети, и, конечно, в идеале, чтобы она уделяла 100% времени воспитанию.
Well, I mean, I would want it to be 50-50. That's the current situation I have. Right?
Если ей не хочется работать, если ей не хочется самореализовываться, ей приятно находиться на моем содержании, почему нет, я могу себе это позволить.
I would. I would probably inspire her to work, just so I can see that there is some motive going in her future.
Жизнь, как бы, моя жизненная ситуация устраивает, и я живу с девушкой, я ее содержу.
Она должна другие функции выполнять, а мужчина на своем месте всегда.
There's a viral video going around of American men and Russian men being asked if they would provide for their wives. Every single American man said no. They said they wanted to go 50-50. One even said, she's an adult, she can provide for herself. They all mocked the idea of providing for their wives. Every single Russian man said yes. They were dumbfounded at the question, actually. One said, it's my wife, of course. They weren't like, well, it's 50-50. What's she bringing to the table? She can get a job. No, they recognize the value and privilege of just having a woman in their lives. We hear a lot of complaints from American men about modern women and how they aren't feminine, but they're not even functioning as providers and protectors. They want women to be their roommates who pay half the bills, provide a maid service for their dusty apartment, and are their bedroom buddy. When these men try to go find wives overseas, the women are always like, I'm not coming back to help you pay bills and lay down with you. Are you crazy? See, these men want women to be feminine, but they have her out in her masculine all day doing more of the heavy lifting and providing than they do. There's no benefit to you, sweetie. If a man wants a relationship with a woman, he needs to step up instead of expecting her to become half a man because he lacks manhood.
And of course, all the Russian men said yes. I know you've seen the video where they ask American men versus Russian men if they will provide for their women. And the American men said 50-50. Now, that was the biggest cultural shock when I moved to the US. For me, my man is supposed to take care of me. My money is my money. His money is ours. If I choose to work, I work. If I choose to stay home and take care of the house, I do that too. You provide, I make the home. That is how it has always been. And I feel like it's that way in a lot of countries except in America. I come to understand that it is about culture. It is about how you were brought up, country realities and whatnot. I personally want my men to take care of me, but let's not pretend that that does not bring its own set of problems. When American men talk about 50-50, it is also 50-50 in taking care of the household. Having been influenced by American culture, I understand the need of balance of those two situations so that people can just make it, because the realities are just different. However, I still choose to get my African king that is going to provide for me.
America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends, you know.
Damn, did I get the only real husband in America? If y'all go watch that video that I just stitched, y'all will see that every man in that video from Russia believes in providing for their wife. But every man in that video from America was like 50-50. One guy even said, no, she an adult, she provide for herself. What? I'm convinced I got the only husband in America. Hey, babe! I love you. I don't want nothing. What? Because I wanted you to hear me. I'm thankful for you.
America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends, you know.
I think... Alright, I don't really get into conversations like this because, like, you feel me? You ain't my bitch. I don't give a fuck. I don't understand why why a lot of women are mad about going 50-50 with a partner. That's your partner, not your lifeline. Now, if you're in a family, the rules are on the table. You feel me? If you're in a family, anything could go. But you should not be mad that your man wants to go 50-50 for you. At that point, you're just asking for a dad. You just want a dad. That's kind of sick. Now, if a man want to do 100 automatically, that's fine. See, me, when it comes to me, if you my girl and I love you, I don't have no problem paying for everything. You gonna tip, though. But, like, you should not be mad because somebody want to go 50-50. You're their partner, not their child. What?
America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends, you know.
I'm going to say this one time and one time only. 90% of the time, these relationships are not 50-50. Work your job, babe. Work your job, because men are 90% of the time not thinking about shit. Not thinking about nothing. The appointments, the organization of the home, the cooking, the cleaning. Work your job so that when you get home, it's a safe space, everyone is happy, the kids are happy, and they get to come and play with you. Okay. Because it's not 50-50 if I'm going to work, then coming home, and then I'm doing the cooking, cleaning, and everything else in between. Okay? So, 50-50, you provide for the household, and I will make that house a home. 50-50.
America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends, you know.
This is definitely cherry-picked because there are American men who do provide. However, I said a long time ago, years ago, that I am over American men and moving on to European men. This is why. European men are where it's at.
So by now I think everyone saw the interview comparison between Russian and American men. I got to interact with both Russian and American men because I was born and raised in Russia, and now I'm living in North America. And the biggest difference between Russian and American men for sure is their culture, upbringing, and mindset. Let me use my dad as an example. My dad always told me since I was young that having an amazing and supportive woman in his life is a privilege, and that the way a man loves his woman will always reflect on how she looks on the outside. My dad never questioned what could my mom bring to the table because he gets a caring, loyal, loving wife and an amazing mom to his children. She's his biggest motivation to work hard, not his children, his wife, his partner in life. My dad works hard to protect my mom's peace, to make sure that she can go out there and do whatever she wants to without having to worry about a single thing. And that's, in my opinion, is the biggest difference.
Okay, by now we've all seen that viral TikTok video that showcases the difference between American men and Russian men, and here's my take on it. This shows the biggest difference between culture, values, and traditions between Americans and Russians. Russians are instilled with these values since childhood. They know that when the time comes and they marry, that they have to step into the provider and protector role because they are taking the daughter from the father's home. They will respect and honor that. Men in America, actually all Americans, they lose their values and traditions. But we had masculine men at one point in America. What happened to them? Women set the bar so low and accept the bare minimum. Men got spoiled and they got used to this treatment. Women put on the pants. They took the balls in their hand and they said, I don't need a man. I can do everything by myself. I will go on these dates. I'll pay 50-50. I don't need a guy to pay for me. I don't need you to pick me up from home. I don't need you to drop me off. You don't have to be concerned for my safety. They get into relationships with men that lead nowhere. They have kids with them with no commitment. They'll split finances and bills with men with no commitment. And then they wonder, where are all the good men? Women set the standards and the men follow. What would happen if all women got off of dating apps? What would happen if all women said no sex until marriage, like it is in a lot of cultures? All men would get their act right. We set the standard and men follow. Don't fall for this Western dating culture. It only benefits the man.
America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends, you know.
American men get on this app every single day and tell on themselves and embarrass themselves in the absolute wildest of ways. Because how is it that you want to be considered a provider? You want to find a woman to cater to you, cook, clean, bear your children, raise the children, but then you also want her to go 50-50 while all you do is go to work. You don't help with the kids. You don't do anything at home. You don't want to do anything at home. You want your wife to do everything for you because your mom did everything for you. That's the reason why you're looking for a woman to do that, because you had a mom that did everything for you and provided for you. Therefore, you think that your partner, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever, you feel like they need to do the same. Okay, y'all are telling on yourselves on this app and all over the internet daily. Y'all, do you know what you're telling us with that 50-50 or that, oh, it depends? You know what that's telling me? It's telling me that you're broke and you lack motivation to go get that shmoney. Okay? All right? Because any man that is demanding that his partner be a stay-at-home wife, take care of him, raise their children, cook, clean, all of that. Any kind of man that's expecting, a real man that's expecting that kind of behavior from their partner, they're going to go and grind and do what they need to do to make sure that those bills are paid, to make sure that she has the money to purchase those cleaning supplies, to make sure that she has the money to purchase the clothes, shoes, everything for your kids. And for you, because we all know you don't go shopping alone. My dad is, how old am I? 33. My dad is 63 years old. My dad does not know what size pants he wears. Why? Because my mom has been buying his clothes and dressing him since the moment they got married. Now, my dad does not fall into that same category of these men. My dad is 63. And ever since I was little, my dad has worked 6 days a week. My mom has never had to go to work a day in her life. If she went to work, it's because she wanted to, not because she had to. Okay, stop telling on yourselves. That's why y'all are single and why you're probably going to die single. Okay, just go see that lady in the white coat. Go talk to a therapist. Go do something, because this mentality, it's not working. You're still single, so figure it out. Figure something out.
America versus Russia, asking men if they would provide for their woman.
Well, it just depends. You know?
Okay, I didn't really watch that full video. I watched snippets of it because I was like, I know the American men are going to say nonsense. I feel like men, well, depending on certain cultures, I'm going to say American men or new age men, or I don't even know. I feel like certain men that want to go 50-50, no relationship is ever 50-50. Let's be honest, because, okay, if you as a man, first of all, in today's society, both men and women contribute to the household. Like, most men do not, like, have, unless you're, like, either rich or, like, making really, really good money. A lot of men, like, are not making enough money to sustain themselves, and then on top of that, sustain their wife and kids without the wife working. Some men can, but not a lot of them do. So of course, women definitely work too. There are definitely women out there who work, have their jobs, have their careers. But
A lot of the time, men believe 50-50 is just contributing 50-50 to, like, your bills or something. But the thing is, when you're a woman, your priorities are, like, there's so many other things us as women have to do, especially if you have kids in the mix. Imagine you as a husband are only contributing 50-50 to your household, right? That's all you do. But the wife or your partner or whatever, she's taking care of y'all's kids. She's taking care of your kids. She's cooking. Okay, because y'all want to clean too. She's cooking. She's cleaning. She's buying groceries. She's taking care of the home. She's the one who has priority over her kids. She's the one who's the main caretaker of kids, because a lot of the times as a mother, you can't walk out of motherhood the same way men can walk out of fatherhood, right? So women have, like, that already is a list of things that women have to do, but then you as a man is like, oh, I'm just contributing 50-50, that's it. You don't contribute to the household. You don't do anything. You don't cook. You don't clean. You don't help out with her. At least, even if you're gonna say, I want a 50-50, I'd rather men say they want, like, a partnership. Like, a partnership in terms of, like, both of you guys contribute in ways you can contribute. But saying 50-50 is just unrealistic, because there's no such thing as a 50-50 relationship, because relationships are never 50-50. And also, it really depends on circumstances. Your wife gets pregnant and let's say she don't want to work, then, you know, you're going to have to pull in some weight. The man, he gets sick or something. The woman might have to pull in the weight a little bit too, depending on certain things happen. Like, no relationship is 50-50 consistently, and it changes. Like, be realistic. Like, men, like, I don't know, men need to start building, go to work, get a job, make some money. Like, please, don't irritate me.
What'd she bring it to the table? She can get a job. No, they recognize the value and privilege of just having a woman in their lives.
You have to stop idolizing Russian men. It's not as pretty as it sounds. In an average Russian or Eastern European family, where a man is the primary breadwinner, the wife isn't considered as important. In that kind of family, a woman is usually reminded of her place. And if this doesn't come up in a daily conversation, this always comes up in an argument. She's constantly reminded she's not as important, she's not as smart, because she doesn't have a job and she doesn't bring money to the family. And it doesn't matter how much home labor she does or how much she cares for the kids, she is still not as respected. And do you know how I know? I grew up in one of those countries, and I saw this firsthand. And that's why women fought so hard to have the right to get a higher education, or to get any education, to vote, to have a bank account in her name, to be able to travel without her husband's permission, to own property, to have the ability to do the same jobs as men do. Women fought hard to have those rights so that they don't feel stuck in a relationship with an abusive and disrespectful man just because she doesn't feel like she can't provide for herself without him. And if being independent and the desire and ability to make our own decisions makes us slightly less feminine, so be it. So stop idolizing Russian or Eastern European men. Them providing for their wives comes at a cost, and some of us are just not willing to pay it.
There's a viral video going around of American men and Russian men being asked if they would provide for their wives. Every single American man said no. They said they wanted to go 50-50. One even said, she's an adult, she can provide for herself. They all mocked the idea of providing for their wives. Every single Russian man said yes. They were dumbfounded at the question, actually. One said, it's my wife, of course. They weren't like, well, it's 50-50. What'd she bring it to the table? She can get a job. No, they recognize the value and privilege of just having a woman in their life.
There's a lot to address in this video because I have a problem with a few different things that he said. Context, and those who haven't seen the original video, there's a viral video of men being asked, would you provide for your wife? Some men in Russia, some men are American, and then, of course, you saw, what happens. First point I'm going to make, and I always give this disclaimer when I make videos about providing in 50-50, is me personally, as much as I make videos talking about, girls and their entitlement and, 50-50 and how it's a little unfair, is I personally have never made a girl that I was serious with ever go 50-50. It's not my thing, but here's the reality. When you come across like you feel like you're entitled to a man to provide for you, I don't agree with that. Even though it's coming across like a positive feature in this scenario, I view men and women as genuinely equal. So I don't see why, if two people are individually making the same amount of money and, they have, a rent of $3,000, why one should be paying it and the other should not be paying it. So many videos of people who are able to empathize when they see a girl crying in her car or a man crying, talking about how, the average income for the American has not changed in the last 10 years, but the average home, the average grocery price, all of these things have gone up substantially. And then you guys will sit there and empathize with those videos, and at the same time, you guys will also think that a man who, in reality is struggling to pay for himself also should take on the burden of having to pay for him and then a girl who makes the exact same amount of money as he does. Second point, and the most obvious one, is every culture is obviously different. There was a video that went viral like 5-6 years ago of women, of an Asian descent being asked, is it cheating if your boyfriend or husband sleeps with a you-know-what worker? And they were like, no, that doesn't count. Why? Why is it? Is it because, the women over in China, they're quality women, or is it just a different culture? I've noticed it seems to come across like you're saying something very positive by being like, well, women deserve to be provided for. They're women. They bring so much. Just them being a woman is, worthy of them being, never having to pay a bill in their life. But the reality is you are separating men and women just by doing that, even though it comes across like a positive thing. In my opinion, you're putting women beneath men. And the reality is in Russia, women aren't necessarily treated very equally. In Russia, it is literally prioritized that the woman is typically supposed to just go straight into motherhood. That's what she's supposed to be prioritizing. So, of course, a Russian man, what would his job be if the mother's job is to, essentially be a mother? And there's obviously a long list of things in Russia where women are put beneath men. But the reality is we look at it as this positive thing because women don't get to work and they get their things provided for. But in reality, they're not treated like equals. You can see over here them talking about how women in Russia are typically in poverty way more than men, probably because they don't work, or the fact that women in Russia are typically victim of domestic assault at a much higher rate. Here being is, listen, if you are making a substantial amount of money as a guy and you feel like your girlfriend or wife puts in an equal amount of, work in the home or whatever value she provides to your life, that you feel like it's warranted paying, for her bills, that makes sense. I'm not going to sit here and say, don't do it. Don't go 50-50. Here is, I don't understand how girls and guys can look that the average American makes $40,000 a year, okay? And homes are like $400,000 a year. They see this. They recognize it. We all complain about the grocery prices of this. And then we see that, and then we all of a sudden forget about that when it's a man and woman. Genuinely believe that men and women are both equal, then you cannot sit there and say something along the lines of, well, men should provide for a woman just because she's a woman. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. I think you should do that in a scenario where you think it's a mutual exchange. If you want to pay $3,000 a month of, rent and car payments and all this stuff, and then you claim that she's doing $3,000 a month of, non-tangible things in the relationship, then, by all means, genuinely believe that men and women are both equal, then you cannot sit there and say something along the lines of, well, men should provide for a woman just because she's a woman. Like, that's a crazy thing to say. This point like 1,000 times when I make my videos, but it is videos like this that reinforce the stigma that women cannot be in like positions of power or run, a company or whatever it is, a leadership position, because they keep reinforcing this idea that the only way or the way it should be is that a man is supposed to be providing for a woman. Even though, obviously, a lot of men, when they were asked in the video and said, oh, no, I would never provide for my wife, the reality is most men in the United States actually do provide for their wives, okay? Most of them do pay majority of the bills. That is the reality. So even though you saw it in a video, a lot of them is because they're envisioning some entitled girl in their brain saying, oh, are you going to pay my rent? And they're just like reacting. In reality, most men actually do pay for a majority of women's bills. The videos that you're seeing of girls being like, he made me go 50-50, or this guy asked me, or I had to go 50-50 with my last boyfriend. It's people who are in very average to below average, tax brackets. They can't afford to live on their own, let alone pay for another person. So a lot of the times, it's just a guy who's broke. Using a video from Russian men, talking very highly about how they would provide for their women is no different than if like you saw the opposite video of a bunch of women who are in completely different countries like Asia or in just different countries where they'll be like, yeah, my husband's allowed to go sleep with whoever he wants. And then guys being like, why don't the women in the United States let us do that? It's almost like it's completely two different cultures. And I guarantee you, you're going to experience a lot of negatives over in Russia if you try to date there. That's great. You might have your bills paid for 10 years, but inevitably when you break up or get a divorce, you're going to be sitting there wondering, now who's the next guy do I go to? Because the only way you've ever learned how to financially provide for yourself is through a man. And if that's something that you enjoy, go ahead. But just keep in mind, the rate of divorce is probably in the high 70%. Again, if you guys want to go 50-50, I've never denied that you guys shouldn't do it. But my whole point is when you think you're entitled to it because you're a woman, you're putting yourself beneath men. But that's just my opinion. But hey, what do you think?
Okay. Like I have a lot to say. So go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about this amazing conversation down in the comment section. But as always, please keep it respectful. You're on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free and share your thoughts. I understand that this 50-50 conversation It's a conversation that we have every AK Market Day, and sometimes we don't have, but I really like some of the takes here, and it's something that we want to talk. And I know as women, we feel like we should be provided for. We want a provider and all those good stuff that comes with it. But this is something I've always talked about, and I always say it here. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I've said I had the privilege of having two amazing women in my life. One had her own money, while the other one was being provided for. My mom was a being provided for. My dad provided every single thing for my mom, every single thing from the tea. And I saw how that played out. So as much as you see people talk about how the Russian men say they are going to provide for their wife, a lot of the time they're not talking about the downside that comes with it. See, there's nothing wrong with spending your man's money. For me, see, it's sweet to eat your mom money. Like, it's very, very nice when you spend your man's money. But also as a woman, you also need to have your own and your self-respect, and also play a financial role in the house, no matter how little it is. And for that, there's one thing I got to learn from my own parents personally. I understand that when a woman has her own money, even though she's not paying all the bills in the house or going 50-50 with a man in the house, if the man knows that she works, she makes her own money, there's a level of respect that comes with it. And this man knows that, oh, she's with me because she wants to be with me, not because she has to be with me. A lot of women are in abusive relationships like this, that when you are in a dynamic, when the man provide 100% for you, this man control you. There's one saying I go by: if a man provide for you 100%, the man controls you, because now you don't have your own, so you can't even move, you can't make your own decision, because if he asks you to sit, you have to sit, because if you don't sit, you might not get that allowance. And this is something I saw personally growing up. My dad provided to the T. Like, I would say my dad is an amazing provider. Even though we have our own differences, my dad is an amazing provider. But one way he was able to control my mom, or I would say control my mom and manipulate my mom, was financially. And a lot of the times we don't talk about financial abuse and how this affects women and how this keep women in abusive relationship. Yes, these men are saying that, oh, we'll provide for you. And then my dad is a big believer of provide 100%, because why most times I see, like, see, don't get me wrong, like I said, get a man that has his own, that is ready to take care of his family and you, but you as a woman have your own. Most time when I see men, and I've seen this in my culture, in my society, even in my house, so when men say, oh, I don't want you to work, I want you to be a stay-at-home mom and take care of the children and take care of the house. In fact, some men in my culture, in my society, will go to the extent to even pay the wife the salary. But over the time, what I've come to see in scenario like that is that for the first couple of months, or first couple of years, he would hold his own side of the deal, pay the salary, give you the salary, give you the money. But after some time, it starts holding back. The financial abuse starts coming in. And for me, when a man says he wants to provide for you 100% and you should stay at home, the man wants to have control of you. And see, some women enjoy those type of dynamics. Some women love that type of dynamic, where a man provides for them and tells them where to go, where to put their leg, how to move, where to dress, how to dress, what clothes to wear, and all that, friends to keep, and all that. Some women love it. But some women like myself, it's something that I know that can never be me. I know that can never be me, because I have seen it firsthand. My grandmom was an amazing woman that has her own, and I saw how she moved. And my mom was also an amazing woman that her husband provided for her, but I also saw how she moved. And that has given me the opportunity for me to go, like, to make that decision that I will not be that woman that a man provide 100% for and does not have to work, does not have to earn our money. That will never be me. And we've seen this conversation over and over again even here on this channel, where we've seen the outcome of women that this happened to, and then the result at the end of the day, when there's divorce, when there's separation and all that. And whether you like it or not, and something I talk about a lot on this channel, is the fact that men are very intentional about the women they want to be with. If it's a man that wants to control you, the man looks for a naive woman, a woman that he can control financially and all that. Men are very intentional. So as women, be very, very intentional. If it's you having somebody that is going to provide for you 150%, go on and do it. But if you're the type of person like myself that fears being think control, and also always want to have a not always want to have a want to also have our own identity and be free and have a mind of our own, live in our own truth, walk in our own truth, then go work and get your own money. That 100, that like the people glamorize either way, like, oh, being provided for 100% is being glamorized a lot, especially by the Americans. And I understand that because the American culture does not encourage like that, provide stay at home, or would I say they used to, but now it's almost like everybody who's working now in America, they don't have women that don't just do and don't stay. Even though there are still some women like that. Don't get me wrong. I know there are still some women that just sit down, their husband provided for. But I feel like because it's not the culture of the American people, it's usually glamorized. And I understand when something you're not used to something, it almost seems like very foreign, very unique to you. But see, there's always a downside to everything, whether you're being provided for or you have your own money. You have to work your ass off to have your own money. There's always a downside. But one thing you should ask yourself is that something you want for yourself? What do you want for yourself? Are you ready to take the downside that comes with this lifestyle that comes with it? See, I could easily like be with someone, or even my husband, like say, okay, no, I don't want to work and all that. I remember there was a time I was out of job for a couple of years, and my husband provided 100%, and I hated myself for it. And I know the amount of work I put in my work to get things done, and that sometimes I'm tired, I'm stressed out, but because I want to make sure I secure myself, I protect myself. As much as I'm in a marriage and a relationship, I want to always protect myself and always have my own and have my free will. Okay, that is very important to me. Anyway, guys, please go down in the, and I can speak about this like like for hours. And yeah, guys. So anyway, guys, please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about this conversation. Okay, share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversations. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push up my content for more people to see, and that'll be you supporting this channel and this girl. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Okay, deuces.